Welcome, let's learn AWS in simple terms. Hi there, don't worry if you've never used AWS before. We're going to explain everything like you're 12 years old. Think of AWS like a giant apartment building with thousands of rooms. Today, we're learning about one specific thing, how to temporarily borrow someone else's keys to access their room. This is called assume role, basically getting temporary permission to do things you normally can't do. It's like your friend giving you their house keys for the weekend while they're away. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how this works, why it's important, and how to do it yourself. No technical background needed. What is AWS? Imagine AWS as a huge apartment building. Each apartment has different things inside. Some have storage space, like S.3. Some have computers, like EC2. And some have databases. You have your own apartment in this building with your own key, your AWS account. But sometimes you need to access your friend's apartment to get something or help them out. Instead of making copies of keys, which would be dangerous, the building has a security office called STS, the Security Token Service. This office can give you a temporary guest pass to access other apartments. This temporary pass only works for a short time, like a few hours, and only lets you do specific things, much safer than permanent keys. What is assume role? Borrowing keys. Assume role is like temporarily becoming someone else for a short time. Imagine you're a substitute teacher for a day. You get the teacher's permissions, but only while you're substituting. Let's say your friend Sarah has an apartment AWS account with a safe S.3 storage full of important photos. She wants you to organize them while she's on vacation. Instead of giving you her permanent key, she tells the building's security, "Give my friend a temporary pass that lets them into my apartment and access my safe, but only for this week." That's exactly what assume role does. It gives you temporary access to do specific things in someone else's AWS account for a limited time. The simple process, how it actually works. Here's a very simple version of what happens when you use assume role. First, you go to the building's security office, AWS STS, and say, "Hi, I'd like a temporary pass to Sarah's apartment." Next, security checks their list. They ask, "Are you allowed to have access to Sarah's apartment?" If Sarah put you on the list, great. Then, security gives you a temporary visitor badge, which represents your temporary credentials, that works for a few hours. You use this badge to access Sarah's apartment and do the things she said you could do. Finally, when the time is up, the badge stops working automatically. There's no need to return it. Who can do what? The permission system. This is like having two different types of permission slips at school. The first permission slip, trust policy, says who can borrow the keys. Sarah makes a list. "Only my friend Alex and my cousin Jamie can get temporary access to my apartment." The second permission slip, permission policy, says what you can do once you're inside. Sarah might say, "You can organize my photos and use my computer, but you can't touch my jewelry box or change my furniture." Both permission slips have to say yes for anything to work. If Sarah trusts you but doesn't give you permission to use her computer, you can get into the apartment, but the computer won't work for you. Trust policy in simple terms. The trust policy is like a guest list at a fancy party. The host or role owner decides who gets invited and under what conditions. For example, Sarah might say, "I trust Alex to access my apartment, but only if he brings the secret password BlueCat 123 feet, and only if he's coming from his home address." This creates multiple layers of security. It's not enough that you're Alex. You also need to know the password and be in the right location. In real AWS terms, the trust policy might require a special ID code, or that you're accessing from your company's office, or that you've logged in with two-factor authentication. Think of it as Sarah being extra careful about who she trusts with her apartment keys. While a trust policy determines who can enter, a permission policy dictates what actions are permitted once inside. Imagine Sarah gives you access to her apartment, but with specific rules on a note. The note might say, "You can use the kitchen and living room. You can read my books, but you cannot go into my bedroom or open my personal mail." That's exactly what a permission policy does. It's a detailed list of what actions you are allowed to perform and what resources you can access. You might be allowed to read files in certain folders but not delete them, or you can create new things but not modify existing ones. The permission policy specifies exactly what is permitted and what is not. This way, even if someone gets temporary access, they can only do what the owner specifically allowed. Getting your temporary pass, the API call. Getting your temporary pass is like filling out a form at the security office. You need to provide specific information. Hi security office, I'd like a temporary pass please. I want access to Sarah's apartment, the role name. My name is Alex, session name. Sarah told me the password is BlueCat 123 feet, external ID. I need it for 2 hours please. The security office checks everything. Is Alex on Sarah's approved list? Did he provide the right password? Does he need access for a reasonable amount of time? If everything checks out, they print you a temporary badge with your photo and an expiration time. This badge has everything you need to access Sarah's apartment. In AWS, this form is an API call, and the badge is a set of temporary credentials. Your temporary credentials, the visitor badge. When the security office approves your request, they give you a special visitor badge. This badge has 3 important parts. 1. Your temporary ID number, like a badge number. 2. A secret code that proves the badge is real, like a barcode. 3. An expiration time stamped on it. Just like a visitor badge at a hospital or office building, this badge only works for a limited time. When the time runs out, the badge automatically becomes useless. The doors won't open for you anymore. You need to carry all 3 parts of this badge, the ID, secret code, and timestamp, whenever you want to access Sarah's apartment. Leave any part behind and it won't work. Step 1. Setting up the apartment, creating the role. Before anyone can visit Sarah's apartment, she needs to set it up properly. This means creating the apartment itself and deciding who's allowed to visit. Sarah goes to the building management and says, I want to create a special apartment access arrangement. I want my friend Alex from apartment 123 to be able to visit, but only if he knows the password secret word 789 feet. The building creates an official record. Sarah's apartment can be accessed by Alex from apartment 123, provided he gives the correct password. This is like creating the role in AWS. Sarah, the role owner, defines exactly who can assume her role and under what conditions. Once this is set up, the security office knows the rules. Step 2. Deciding what visitors can do. This is like attaching permissions. Now Sarah needs to decide what her visitors can actually do inside her apartment. She creates a detailed list of rules. For example, visitors to my apartment can use the kitchen to make coffee, read books from the living room shelf, use the computer for work, water my plants. They cannot go through my personal photos, use my bedroom, or change any furniture. She can choose from pre-made rule sets like guest rules or house sitter rules, or create her own custom list. This is like attaching policies to the role. Sarah is defining exactly what actions the temporary visitor is allowed to perform. These rules get attached to the apartment access arrangement. The more specific Sarah is, the safer her apartment will be. Step 3. Setting up the visitor, configuring access. Meanwhile, Alex, who wants to visit, needs to get permission from his own apartment building management to visit other apartments. Alex goes to his building security and says, I need permission to visit other apartments using temporary passes. Specifically, I want to be able to visit Sarah's apartment when she invites me. His building security creates a note in his file. Alex is allowed to request visitor passes to access Sarah's apartment at Building XYZ, apartment 456. This is a two-way permission system. Sarah has to trust Alex, and Alex has to have permission to visit other apartments. Both sides need to agree before anything works. It's like both parents needing to sign a permission slip for a school field trip. Step 4. Getting the visitor pass, making the request. Now for the exciting part, Alex goes to get his temporary visitor pass. He walks up to the security office with all his information ready. Hi, I'm Alex from apartment 123. I'd like a visitor pass to Sarah's apartment. She told me the password is secret word 789. I need it for 3 hours to help her organize some files. The security officer checks their computer, verifying that Alex is on Sarah's approved list. He provided the right password, and 3 hours is a reasonable amount of time. Everything checks out. the security officer prints a temporary visitor badge with Alex's name, the apartment he can visit, what he can do there, and when the pass expires. Alex now has everything he needs to access Sarah's apartment temporarily. Step 5. Using your visitor pass, working with credentials. Alex now has his visitor pass, but how does he actually use it? There are a few different ways. Method 1. He can carry the physical badge and show it every time he needs to open a door in Sarah's apartment. Method 2. He can register the badge with his smartphone app, so his phone automatically shows the right credentials when needed. The important thing is that Alex needs to keep track of when his pass expires. If he's still in Sarah's apartment when it expires, the doors will stop working for him. He might get a 3-hour pass but decide to only stay 2 hours to be safe. Smart thinking. In AWS terms, there are different ways to use your temporary credentials, but they all work the same basic way. Visiting friends in other buildings, cross-account access. Now let's make this more interesting. What if Alex lives in Building A, but Sarah lives in Building B across town? This is like having AWS accounts in different companies. The process is similar, but now there are 2 different building security offices involved. Alex needs permission from his building to visit other buildings, and Sarah's building needs to trust visitors from Alex's building. It's like international travel. You need a passport from your country, and the destination country needs to allow visitors from your country. This is super common in big companies where different teams have different AWS accounts for security reasons. The development team might need temporary access to the production account to fix a problem. Same concept, just with an extra layer of coordination between the 2 buildings. Setting up cross-building visits. Setting up cross-building access requires coordination between both buildings. Let's see how this works. Sarah in Building B tells her security, "I want to allow visitors from Building A, specifically anyone with a developer badge from that building. They need to know the password Project 2024 feet to get access." Meanwhile, Alex in Building A tells his security, "I need permission to visit apartments in Building B when invited. Specifically, I want to visit Sarah's apartment." Now both buildings have the proper records. When Alex wants to visit, he goes to Building B's security office, shows his Building A ID, provides the password, and gets his temporary visitor pass. This creates a secure bridge between the 2 buildings while maintaining security for both sides. Staying safe. Security best practices. Just like in real life, there are smart ways to stay safe when giving people temporary access. Always use secret credentials, often referred to as external IDs, so unauthorized individuals cannot impersonate legitimate users. Make these credentials long and unique. Avoid common or easily guessable examples like password 123. Only grant the minimum access required. For instance, if a user is only meant to organize files, do not grant them access to sensitive financial documents. Set up monitoring systems so you can see who accessed what and when. This helps you detect suspicious activity. Only allow access from known locations. If a user typically accesses from a familiar place, do not allow access from unexpected or foreign locations. Require extra security measures, such as 2-factor authentication, for sensitive information or critical systems. It is like requiring both a physical key and a security code. When things go wrong, sometimes the visitor pass system doesn't work. Here's how to figure out what went wrong, explained simply. Problem 1. You are told by security that you are not allowed to get a visitor pass. This typically means you are not on the approved visitor list, or you do not have permission to visit other apartments. Problem 2. Your visitor pass doesn't work at the apartment door. This usually means the pass has expired, or you are trying to do something for which you do not have permission. Problem 3. Security cannot verify your identity. This might mean you provided the wrong password, or you are trying to visit from a location that is not allowed. The good news is that each problem has a clear solution once you understand the cause. It's simply a matter of checking the right things in the correct order. Common problems and easy fixes. Let's look at the most common problems people run into and how to fix them. I can't get a visitor pass. Check if you're on the approved list and if you have permission to visit other apartments. Both need to be true. My credentials don't work. Make sure you're using all 3 parts: ID, secret code, and timestamp, and that the pass hasn't expired. I can access the apartment but can't do anything. This means you got in, but you don't have permission to do what you're trying to do. Check what actions you're actually allowed to perform. Most problems come down to missing permissions somewhere in the chain. The key is to check each step. Can I visit? Am I trusted? Do I have the right permissions? Are my credentials still valid? Cool things you can do. Advanced uses. Once you understand the basics, there are some cool things you can do with this visitor pass system. Chain visits. Alex gets a pass to Sarah's apartment, and Sarah's apartment has a special pass to visit Bob's apartment. Alex can use both passes to access Bob's apartment via Sarah's. Automatic visits. Some systems can automatically get visitor passes when needed, like a robot that gets a pass to water plants every day at 3 p.m. Company ID integration. Instead of individual visitor passes, your company ID badge can automatically get you temporary access to partner company buildings. Emergency access. Set up special passes that only work during emergencies, giving security teams access to fix problems quickly. Keeping track of everything, or monitoring. Smart apartment building owners keep detailed records of who visits and when. This is like having a detailed security log that tracks everything. For example, it might track, Alex visited Sarah's apartment on Monday at 2 p.m. using visitor pass number 12,345. He accessed the computer room and file cabinet. He left at 4 p.m. when his pass expired. This kind of logging helps you spot problems. You might notice something like, wait, why did someone visit my apartment at 3 a.m.? I never gave permission for that. You can also set up alerts for unusual activity. This could include visits from unknown locations, failed attempts to get visitor passes, or people trying to access things they're not allowed to. Good monitoring helps you stay safe and catch problems before they become big issues. It's like having a security guard who never sleeps. Performance tips. If you visit the same apartment regularly, constantly getting new visitor passes can be slow and annoying. Here are some smart tricks. Keep your current visitor pass until it's almost expired, then get a new one. Don't get a new pass for every single visit. If you're visiting multiple apartments, try to organize your visits efficiently. Get all your passes at once instead of making separate trips to the security office. Some buildings have express lanes for regular visitors. If you visit the same apartment every day for work, there might be a faster process. Remember that the security office can get busy. If lots of people are requesting passes at the same time, you might need to wait your turn or try again later. Let's look at using this system in a work context, specifically its business applications. This visitor pass system proves highly useful for businesses. Consider these real-world examples. First, a software company often uses separate environments for development, testing, and production. With this system, developers can be granted temporary passes to address issues directly in production, without requiring permanent access. Second, an accounting firm can provide auditors with temporary access to client files during tax season. This access can be limited, for example, to specific clients and restricted only during business hours. Third, in a hospital setting, doctors covering for colleagues can be given temporary access to patient records, strictly limited to the patients they are assigned to care for. The critical advantage here is that temporary access is inherently safer than granting permanent access. Individuals receive exactly what they need, precisely when they need it, and only for the duration required. Wrapping up, you've got this. Congratulations, you now understand AWS Assume role better than many people who use it every day. Let's recap the key ideas. Assume role is like getting a temporary visitor pass to someone else's apartment. You can do specific things for a limited time, then the pass expires automatically. There are two types of permission: who can get the pass, trust policy, and what they can do with it, permission policy. Both have to say yes. The process is, set up the apartment, decide what visitors can do, give the visitor permission to visit, request the pass, and use it before it expires. This system keeps everyone safe while still allowing people to help each other when needed. It's like having really good security that's also convenient to use. Now you're ready to use this knowledge in the real world.